everything can't go your way, and you were humbled by the god of hip hop, the god of hip hop who doesn't really make hits, doesn't really make great music. Never been a stimulus package. Kendrick has never taken songs to the next level. Like no one can say as far as like songs that were big that people really love. There were no big records that Kendrick took to the next level, or if Kendrick wasn't on that record, it wouldn't be what it was, right? Anytime Kendrick was featured on a big record, that record didn't need him for it to be hot, or it didn't put that person on the map. Whereas Drake has done that from the beginning of his career. He's the only rookie to not need to be put on, who was there for the most part, getting other people hot as a so-called rookie. That's how talented Drake was, or Drake still is. Whereas Kendrick has never done that. Not only that, Kendrick is only here because of Drake. And I'm gonna get into the average Kendrick fan in a little bit and whatnot, but I want to set the tone so that we understand what we're looking at. So we did look at it before, but this guy made a really good point about Drake. They dismissed the case before trial, meaning that there was never an opportunity for the evidence and the evidence found into discovery to be basically looked at and viewed in front of a jury of his peers and whatnot. Not only that, a dismissal does not mean that you can't appeal the case. But what was ironic, and I'm gonna keep bringing this point home about, we have let a hater's narrative shape how we look at history and right from wrong. Never in the history of music labels has the music label ever been on the side of the artist. The record label is known for fucking the artist over. Since it's been record labels, since when is there a fair record label that gives you all the money you're owed? And I mean, and we've always known that this is the first time where an artist has been so successful, and also a smear campaign worked so well that you're willing to buy into the idea that it's okay for another artist to make records and songs about you being basically someone who touches kids and messes with kids, and and it's okay. And not only that, it's okay for the other artist to create a song that devalues your brand, right? And the guy also made a good point about the fact that this song, Not Like Us, was played everywhere. That song, they made UMG put money into making that record the biggest record possible. He performed that nasty record at the Super Bowl in front of children. A record about touching kids in front of children. How does that not bother y'all? So you think that it's just such a great record that they will allow you to perform a song that goes against basically FCC guidelines. If I'm on YouTube, you cannot say what PDF file really is on YouTube, because it's one of those buzzwords that will get your video demonetized. So even the subject of touching kids, or anything sexual in general, if you're a big enough channel, it gets your video demonetized. As a matter of fact, it can count towards you being demonetized as a channel, because you cannot talk about certain stuff on YouTube, on TV in general, right? But this song, Not Like Us, which was all false, but the judge dismissed it based off the idea that a reasonable everyday listener is not listening. Basically, that people do not listen to this record and think that it's true. People hear it and they automatically know, because all people who heard the record, they all watch a lot of battle rap, and they know what goes on in battle rap, which is that in battle rap, the go-to is to rap about someone touching kids, even though you've never seen them do so. The go-to is to rap about being a PDF file with no proof and no paperwork. And I've gone over that in another video. There is no such thing in battle rap as I can accuse you of doing a crime and I have no paperwork, legal paperwork. At the end of the day, we have a lot of men who can't get no booty. Have a lot of men. Listen, the voice that is telling me that Kendrick is God is coming from the nigga who can't make no good songs. Because you got to realize The failed rappers, the rappers who listen to that boom bap, let me tell you something right now. If you heard the Lloyd Banks album, you probably not getting no pussy. You probably do not. You do not. You don't like bad bitches. If you know what the Lloyd Banks album sound like, you more than likely do not like baddies. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this again. I'm gonna play it from the midway point when he makes the point about Taylor Swift.
With calling her a predator, which actually isn't that far from reality if you know about her past, but I'm not going to get into that. And use that to devalue her brand. And then they get some smaller artists to make a song that's very catchy. They use every resource that they have, whether it be producers, songwriters, AI, anything, to generate the most catchy song you can imagine. She wants to negotiate, not like us. It can't be questioned because it's not an actionable opinion. So let's use that as a hypothetical here. Let's say Taylor Swift. She wants to negotiate her next coming deal with UMG. She says, I'm the biggest musician in the world. I don't want to deal with any bullshit. I want all my rights to all my stuff, and I want $1 billion. And UMG goes, no, we want a sweeter deal because we're UMG. We run the fucking music industry as we've proven. So what are we going to do? We're going to get an artist to release a defamatory track about Taylor Swift calling her a predator, which actually isn't that far from reality if you know about her past. But
Let's pause it right here. I had no idea that any of this shit was going on. So she has, so these are all pictures from her past relationships where, so I'm sorry, this is a Twitter post that says, a reminder that Taylor Swift had many inappropriate relationships with younger teenage boys before settling with her current MAGA fiance. So in here, she's 23, he's 18, 17, she's 20, so on and so forth. So that actually is a thing that could actually happen.
I'm not going to get into that. And use that to devalue her brand. And then they get some smaller artists to make a song that's very catchy. They use every resource that they have, whether it be producers, songwriters, AI, anything, to generate the most catchy song you can imagine. They put it on every playlist on Spotify, Apple Music, every radio station that they own. iHeartMedia is churning this thing out on radio airwaves. It goes number one for 100 weeks. It is unavoidable. And now all of a sudden, you have people in all parts of the world who don't know jack shit about Taylor Swift singing along to some catchy song going, la la la, Taylor Swift had sex with a kid, or some fucking bullshit like that. And then you got people who don't know anything about Taylor Swift or her music or the whole fucking context of any situation that she's been in, just humming along this terribly defamatory product. But because the song itself was created in a specific scenario where this specific artist didn't tend to like Taylor Swift, it's non-actionable opinion and it's not defamatory. Like, that's insane. Because if it can be propagated to a level where it's unavoidable, like you hear it everywhere, sporting events,
Who are these niggas?
Oscars, Super Bowl, whatever the fuck, like, it's insane to think about. It just set a precedent for $1 billion company, a precedent for $1 billion company to use one artist as a soldier against another artist and take them down. And then think about it with AI. They don't even need an actual artist to be a soldier. They could make a goddamn soldier out of AI, make it the craziest song you've ever heard through all the algorithms that they have in their fucking back pocket. And then they put that on every single playlist. Like, this.
I have never played Not Like Us on Spotify. Not Like Us is on my on repeat. On repeat on Spotify is a playlist generated for you based off of songs you play all the time. Not Like Us was a record on my Spotify on repeat, and I think I might have played. I never played the entire thing on Spotify. Never. Okay, that's how. Now there has never been a Drake song that I didn't play that was on my on repeat. On repeat means I played it at least 3 or 4 times. Sometimes I have to force a song into my on repeat. I have to keep playing it individually so that it will go into my on repeat so that I have this playlist curated for me. You understand me? So that song actually was on my on repeat. People even reported putting in a Drake song and then getting a suggestion for Not Like Us. So there was like so many things done to make sure this record was as big as possible. Right? But the narrative that you'll hear from fucking losers and niggas who can't get no pussy and niggas who don't dress nice or niggas who do basically again guys who are not desirable. Not that you have to be desirable and whatnot, but basically niggas who have the makings of a hater supported this entire thing. And on top of that, the payola from the bloggers. You think the Joe Budden podcast ain't getting cut a check? Them niggas get cut a check. And on top of that, Joe has a personal vendetta with Drake. All right. Just by virtue of him being more successful as an artist. You understand me? So I wanted to play that real quick but before I play the clip from Joe Budden and Anthony Fantano. Matter of fact, we'll go to Anthony Fantano. Fuck that. We'll go there. But before we go there, let's go ahead and play this real quick. Hold on, y'all.
Don't say Toby be good nigga for my
So that's Kendrick Lamar. All right, and that's the Grammys. Check it out.
master. Good nigga. Don't send Toby away. Toby be good field hand, boss. Good field hand, master.
That's all right, Toby. That's all right. You be a good field hand and you can stay here.
Toby be good nigga for master. Good nigga.
It's your boy right here, man. So you know what thing I think is really interesting is that people want to make this about more than a rap because Kendrick can't rap that good. I'm sorry. When it comes to being direct, Kendrick is someone who's very artistic and creative with how he raps to the beat. Kendrick bar for bar is not someone that's really saying much of anything. I think it's cool, but I've never read that deeply into his bars word for word. I like how the song sound, and I like the pockets he gets into and whatnot. But Kendrick has always been dope in terms of doing what he does. He's never really been an international star where you can put him on anything and it's going to elevate the song. You know what I mean? Now, before this shit, I liked Kendrick and I liked certain shit from Kendrick and whatnot, but I liked him in terms of his lane. But when we started to compare him with a Drake and try to really say, no, he's better than Drake, what that shit is based off the idea that we, especially with hip hop, if an artist is talented and makes music that's actually good, they get labeled as someone who's not that good of a rapper. Because again, hip hop is synonymous with for most people. Hip hop is synonymous with black culture, and for most black people, black culture is being broke. It's being ugly, it's being dirty, right? It's having no class, right? And also failing at life, being a failure. I mean, that's why, you know, I'll never forget when Steve Stout was saying, like, yo, these niggas is on camera representing. Meaning he was talking about when niggas started putting a block in a video, right? And what they want to represent. He said, these niggas is representing nothing. When you see a rapper do a video in their hood and they talking about where they from and whatnot, yo, they from nothing. Ain't nothing there. They ain't built shit there. They just want to represent where they from. They just want to call it their city. But where they from, there's nothing there that their family owns. There's nothing there that belongs to them. The only thing that's there is bad relationships and bad memories. Right? But anywho, y'all wanted to make this thing about ethics, about politics, and somehow this nigga is so much. First of all, you can't tell me that Kendrick is an ethical, moral guy when you sat down with UMG according to that contract before he put out his first disc. He signed adjusted, basically a new contract with UMG that promised him all kinds of perks, a national tour, basically the Grammys, right? And also getting the performance at the Super Bowl. Kendrick is the most unlikely and unfitting artist to ever do the Super Bowl. All right, period. Not only that, the nigga, like, it was so clear that it was first of all, his whole performance is about dissing Drake. Like, we really got to witness this nigga do all of the corniest things ever. When you are a top and major artist, you never make it seem as though your brand is tied to another artist's brand. That's one of the reasons why you went and do a diss song. This niggas make diss songs, right? Nas never performed Ether at every show after the beef. Nas was never asked to do Ether at the Grammys. Nas was never asked to do Ether at the Super Bowl. Like, really think about that shit. Like, really think about it. Not only that, you were only asked to do the Super Bowl because of Drake. He had SZA and Serena Williams there. Two of Drake's ex-girlfriends. That is weird, bro. It's weird. Like, we created this whole reality where everything, and it really proved how much, yo, In y'all eyes, this nigga can do no wrong, which meant that y'all was already biased to begin with. Y'all niggas did the same thing to Hove. And you did the same thing with Nas. Nas, listen, I like Nas, but Nas has never been the kind of guy who ever got anyone's career started. Or a feature from him really took someone to the next level. Or brought the song to the next level. Because that's not his lane. His lane is being Nas, which is cool. I think an artist is best served by being the best version of themselves or the truest version of themselves, right? Or the most powerful version of themselves. So if your lane is doing that niche kind of music, all right, cool, right? But we've seen with G Next what Kendrick sound like trying to make like catchy records, even Not Like Us. I don't like Not Like Us because it's just corny. It's a corny attempt that you're making a hot record. All right, and you, my friend, it's like all these like these little hooks and whatnot that aren't good hooks. Now stab this way, stab nigga. What if this nigga was not talking about Drake and let's say he was just rapping, right? And he did all that stuff, y'all be saying this song is ass. But because it's about Drake, it's thought provoking. All right, it has your nipples hard. It's what hip hop needed. All right, but anywho. But going back to the case and whatnot, right? This is very dangerous. Like this is not good for the artist at all. Because the artist is who's, for the most part, the art. Listen, if we're talking about hip hop, right? More than likely, if we're talking about a situation between the artist and the label, more than likely, if it's hip hop especially, it will be a black artist going against basically a corporation ran by white folks. Y'all can't say on one hand that you are pro Kendrick because you basically see Drake as a white man. One way or the other. Y'all try to basically convince folks that Drake is somehow all of a sudden not black, that he's a white guy, right? So and for the most part, Not Like Us made the battle more so about, all right, well now it was white versus black. Even though no one thinks Drake is white. Somehow Drake was never considered to be white or a culture vulture or someone who just wasn't a part of the culture until this battle. People now haters may say it's like that, but that was never the synopsis. Was Drake is not black. What the fuck you talking about? Y'all niggas just got done talking about Kamala Harris is black, and this is someone who never said they was black until it was time for run for president. She has identified herself for years as Asian American because her family is Indian. She just now again. I thought she was black too. She sound black. She looked black. She got the hair texture of a black person. I thought she was black too. But according to her and her family, they are Asian American. All right, Asian American and Jamaican. All right. In case you don't know, there are Asian people in Jamaica, or just in the Caribbean in general. It's not uncommon to see Chinese people and Indian people who are from Jamaica. All right. For the most part, I can always tell when I'm looking at a Guyanese person and a straight Indian person, because Guyanese people, right? They have Indian, how can I say, heritage, but a lot of times they don't look exactly the same. A lot of times they'll look a little more. They look a little more like black people. Not really. They still look Indian and whatnot, but they look mixed in a way. They don't look exactly Indian. You know what I'm saying? And would you get what I'm saying, right? So I want to play this clip from Joe, and I wanted to play it because it's really important to always look at who is singing what and what their motivation is. You know what I'm saying?
Yesterday evening, somewhere around 6 or 7 o'clock, it was finally confirmed. The news broke that Drake's a bitch. Wait a minute, I'm about to come in here and fucking word me.
That was easy, yeah.
Oh,
That was the point.
Oh, he went to court, he lost. The same shit that I told y'all 11 months ago rang true yesterday at around 6 o'clock.
So basically, now this is an artist. Now again, Joe is someone who's been pro artist for the longest time, and still for the most part is pro artist, right? This was a conversation about the artist, and you have an art again. Let me tell you something. It's hard to understand if you don't got a heart full of hate. It's hard to get. It's hard to understand. But we got to look at the intention here. He is a failed artist. He is someone who had. Listen, I got mad love for Joe. But jumping out there and saying that Drake's case was dismissed because he's a bitch. So basically, what they're trying to, again, narrative is everything. Now, again, it doesn't matter if someone's wrong or right. Someone like this could talk and give someone an opinion or influence someone's opinion, but by making that simple statement, because it's supposed to be based off the idea that, oh, you got yourself into a rap battle and now you can't handle it. That's not what happened. They did not have a normal back and forth. What they had, listen, fam, when Drake put out back to back, the record label wasn't putting money in the back to back. The record label put a lot of money into Not Like Us. A lot. Drake was not offered to go perform back to back at the Super Bowl, the Grammys, the Oscars, none of that shit. Matter of fact, the moment really came and went. But people was kind of shocked, like, oh shit, yo, Drake is tearing Meek Mills the fuck up on the song. And on top of that, it's super catchy, right? And that was kind of the end of it. Like, Drake had like 3 records, and that was that, right? It wasn't this whole thing where he made his whole life about the damn record. Kendrick Lamar is doing Not Like Us in Brazil right now. Bro, this nigga has sold out on so many goddamn levels. But before we go any further, I'm just saying, to be fair, we have to go through the history. So, exhibit number 1. Let's go through it right here. Listen. Prayerfully stated, rent-free, Joe will never get over it. Whether y'all want to realize this shit or not, men do not take kindly to being Eskimo brothers with a nigga. Okay? Being an Eskimo brother, sharing. Listen, this gives the fact that Drake might have knocked down Tahiri, right, gives this a whole different context, my nigga. And on top of that, there was a time where Joe made 4 Drake disses where he's going right at Drake, right? And Drake never responded. He got himself into an imaginary battle with Drake. And don't get me wrong, he was getting crazy. Now, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. I'm a Joe Budden fan, but I didn't want to hear that shit. Like, when I heard he was dissing Drake, I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear that shit, bro. I might have heard like one of them, but I didn't want to hear that shit. And it was based off the fact that he felt as though Drake had been dissing him subliminally for years and years. But a part of that shit was also the fact that, yo, y'all niggas might be Eskimo brothers, right? But again, artists in their mind, in order for you to be a great rapper, you have to get into your mind that I'm the greatest ever. No one's better than me. And again, you have to become a little delusional, a little egotistical. And to a certain degree, the way you can look at other people's success is you're getting what I'm supposed to be getting. Like, for example, right? Like, I don't really feel this way as much, but at times, let's say if I'm at the supermarket and it's slow and I can't get no orders, like, you can kind of tell when one of the other guys who's there shopping has a crazy order, right? You'll see like mad bags in the car. I'm like, oh damn, god damn, yo, he getting ready to get paid good. But I have an abundance mindset. Like, doing this shit has taught me to have an abundance mindset and what that means for myself. Me understand that, yo, it's just not the end. There will be more. It's going to be more. But for a lot of artists, for one, because of their competitive mindset, it's nothing too. The reason why Joe can feel so comfortable going at him like that is because it's hard to understand, because rappers are very competitive. When you have a competitive mindset, it makes it hard to realize when you're being a hater. It makes it hard to realize when you're being negative. It makes it hard to realize when you're just trying to tear somebody down unfairly. You understand? You don't notice these things as much. And I've had to understand that with my relationships with other rappers. We're like, yo, he in his mind is in competition with me, so he can't see that, yo, you being a piece of shit right now, or you're not making any goddamn sense. Like you're just getting emotional. For the most part, since Joe Budden has had this podcast, I don't know if anyone has profited more from talking about Drake than Joe Budden. Drake has been a hot topic on damn near every show. Not every show, but just, yo, Drake has come up so much on this man's show that it's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. But anyway, let's also just keep it going. Let's keep it going. Hold on. Let's get some more context. So, I don't agree with this whole narrative, but it is questionable, and I never understood Joe's reason for this whole thing. So, this is back in 2009 when Joe got punched in his eye by a Wu-Tang member at Rock the Bells. Now, this conversation made no damn sense to me, but it happened on camera. Mickey Fax and Joe Budden are on camera, and Raekwon comes out of nowhere and he sits down behind Joe and they start arguing. This stems from Joe feeling as though he should be higher on the list of basically the top 50 greatest rappers of all time than Method Man. He said, I feel as though I rap better than Method Man. And listen, I feel as though he is still entitled to feel how he feels. He didn't say anything disrespectful about Method Man. He didn't say anything defamatory about Method Man. He just said, yo, I should be higher on the list. I should be higher on the list than Method Man, right? So Raekwon is there at the event and whatnot, and he pops up and they start kind of going having a back and forth. And somehow it just culminates with one of the guys from Wu-Tang punching him in the eye. So at first it was Raekwon did it, right? Then it became the dude who was with Raekwon hit Joe in the eye, right? And that just tells you it was a way different time back then, right? But I never understood if the nigga punched you in the eye, because Joe didn't get jumped. It wasn't a situation where Joe got jumped and, you know, there was 3 or 4 niggas on him. From what we understand, it was one nigga that punched you in the eye, and somehow y'all didn't squabble. There was no reality where I get punched in the eye and I don't do nothing. And this was always a black eye for Joe. All right. And me personally, I never saw it as a thing where I need to, like, you know, just write him off forever. But people always want to bring up, you get, now mind you, this is not the only nigga to ever swing on Joe. Back in 2012, at the Reunion for Love and Hip Hop, Consequence tried to pop off on Joe because of an argument that they was having, right? So in the industry, now me personally, I never thought Joe was soft out like that. I always been a Joe Budden fan. But for the most part, yo, the consensus is you've had niggas put their hands on you and you didn't. Now mind you, now him and Consequence did kind of go back and forth a little bit, but you've had several situations that bubbled into some physical shit or almost physical back when him and Ransom was going back and forth, right? They didn't come to Joe Budden's house, but they came to a relative's house. Now, I'm not going to put a video up right now, but Joe got mad situations from over the years that just look crazy, to be honest with you, right? So for you to come out there and say Drake's a bitch, now mind you, and also given the reason why you're saying it, now again, Drake went against the system. Not only that, Drake actually had the bread. Not many artists got the actual bread to hire a lawyer and a legal team to go against their label, because most artists are broke. All right, and we get back into the whole reason why the whole conversation, this whole reaction of like a celebration. So we also got Anthony Fantano here, right? Let's listen to him real quick.
Britt not getting what he wanted and was probably going to lose, and yet there were so many who were still willing to push the lie that this was a righteous battle for Drake to engage in and that he was most likely going to win. And I want to make sure those people know, because I'm positive a lot of them are watching right now. You are full of fucking shit. You're liars, you're fakes, you're frauds, you're morons. You should.
So first and foremost, we have Anthony Fantano here. Let me give some context to why he is a cancer in hip hop. I but when I was in college, I came across the Needle Drop channel. He was someone who reviewed albums of all genres, right? And I'll never forget how many hip hop and R&B albums that he got wrong, and I forgot why I stopped following him, right? Who you listen to matters. Okay, let's look at old boy. I'm not trying to diss him, but this is the kind of nigga that's gonna dry the girls up. This is no one's heartthrob, all right? And I'm saying that because niggas that aren't popping socially, mean that you don't have friends. People are not happy for you to come into a room. You're not someone who can attract girls and whatnot. Basically, guys who fall more so into that, like you are definitely, you are a nerd inside and out. These are the kind of guys who are really into niche. They're into anything that goes against what people actually like and what people are actually attracted to. It's the kind of guy who's going to tell you how good MF Doom is, right? It's the kind of guy who's going to tell you about the fucking Raekwon album, tell you about the Clips album, right? And one of the reasons why the Clips, and I could not put my finger on what's wrong with these niggas. Clips, Raekwon, people like that. The reason why these people have never really gone to the next level or really been able to get more fanfares because perfect example with the Clips, right? The Clips rap almost exactly like they rapped in 2010, in '06, and 2002. I can't say that it's that different or this is a whole different Pusha T, a whole different No Mouse. And again, I always felt like they was pretty talented brothers, but I never really critiqued their music. Honestly, I wanted to like their music. I can't say that their music really grabbed me like that. I mean, because I love their aesthetic and I loved, and I was younger, so I was more into the whole hip hop thing, right? And just in terms of like, just having like that gritty image, that bare bonusness. But I always felt like I was forced myself to like the songs because their songs weren't really good songs. Mr. Mood 2 is not really a good song. Even Grinding's not really a catchy record. Grinding just had one of the best beats ever. Their musical catalog is based mainly off of rapping on the beats from one of the best niggas to ever do beats or even oversee or call themselves a producer. You understand? But anyway, going back to who Anthony Fantano is, Anthony Fantano, again, men who see themselves as being undesirable for being chosen last, not only that, it also furthers my idea that whenever men do not embrace a masculine frame, meaning that they have an ambition of wanting to be strong, wanting to be athletic, wanting to be a problem solver, wanting to come across, when men do not desire to come across as manly and strong, it leads to evil behavior. Because what also does is it makes them act more like bitches, right? So this blog is about, that he's making right now, is about celebrating the fact that Drake's record label was able to pit another artist against him. It wasn't even Kendrick's idea. Gonna find out. This was UMG's idea. That's why they gave him a new contract before he put the record out. What the fuck? We have countless facts out there, and you still basically have these people who have exposed themselves to be true Drake haters. The reason why it's important to point out is because a lot of you will go out there and try to accomplish great things, and you'll have people that you'll come across who have these strong opinions, and because you're a man, and I will say this, a part of being a man is having to accept critiques and criticisms, right? Even if they wrong or they sound ridiculous, you still have to deal with this shit. And you can't get mad about it. That's one thing that I don't want to say I hate about being a man, but someone could be violating you, but you have to still deal with their bullshit and hear them out. Or I don't know how to even put it, but I always put that into the category of there are certain conversations that you can't have, because if you have the conversation, it changes the whole dynamic. So, for example, if I'm telling you that I'm the greatest rapper ever, right? The moment I ask you, yo, like, you thought that was hot, or do you like my album? It's better for me to act as though I don't hear the opinions. It's better for me to act as though critiques don't bother me, because I've made the work already. I can't base what I do off of what everyone likes, all right? Or thinking that every time I pop out is going to be the same result. Sometimes they're not going to be rocking with it, all right? Nothing's perfect, and you don't owe anybody perfection, right? But anywho, but getting back to what the conversation means, this back and forth has given these niggas a license to hate out in the open. You really got to see haters have the opportunity just to hate out in the open, and no one's gonna say anything or challenge you, right? This is someone who reviews music made by artists. And right now, because of his hate for someone who's actually successful, that people actually listen to, he can't see your bro. You're being basically you're being anti-artist. Listen, a part of being in hip hop culture, and you'll even see white folks buy into this shit, is this niggerism where you adjust the rules and change the rules for people based off of who you like and who you don't like. Okay? But going back to the credibility of Anthony Fantano, is the reason why I stopped listening to Anthony Fantano was because I had realized every album you gave an 8 through 10 to sucked. Almost all of them. Almost every time. I listen to fucking Run the Jewels because of this nigga, and I'm like, yo, this is not enjoyable. All right, It's like so many records. And I was like, you know what? When he gave Watch the Throne a 7.5, he gave The Weeknd's first album, I think The House of Balloons, I think a 3 or a 4. All right. So from there, he's showing you that he's not able to properly rate hip hop music. And he has these extreme opinions based off of your niche taste, okay? Anthony Fantano is someone who would go to the record shop and go through the activity, the adventure of finding a new artist physically, which is not a bad thing. But there's always been that listener who's not looking for music that sounds good. This listener is looking for the most obscure type of music that no one's heard before, so that they can make it their identity. All right, he's made it his identity to root for the underdog, to ride for the underdog, and champion music that doesn't necessarily sound good. Danny Brown is another one. I think Danny Brown's pretty cool. He gave that XXX album a 10. That would mean that this is a perfect album, a 9 or a 10, right? I want to play that shit. First of all, the way Danny Brown rapped at that point was damn near intolerable. But I had to realize that he's not rating the music based off of the quality of the music. He's rating the music based off of how unique it is, and how left field it would be for someone who does not play this kind of music. Anyway,
never be taken seriously again. Like, I'm convinced if you guys didn't have this to obsess over the past year, you would actually just be in a cult right now. You would have found a cult to join instead. But instead you did this, and frankly, you should be fucking embarrassed. Like, you really truly should do everything you can to erase this period of your life and move on. And I don't know, get into like stamp collecting or something like that.
Who are these niggas? I cried laughing when I read it. Like, we need to stay away from these niggas.
y'all gotta stop giving these kind of niggas platforms, bro. Because they teach you how to be whack. I had a conversation with a young man earlier on Threads. Matter of fact, let's see if I can find it real quick. So and I said it to him out of love, right? So here's the back and forth that we had, right? So I wanted to play it. Now here we go. He says, now mind you, I gave him this video. Old boy did not respond to it. I don't know if he even watched it, right? But let's go ahead and look at it real quick. Where is it? This is the video from that weekend, the alleged weekend of the incident that Kendrick Lamar had in Las Vegas, where he's with a white girl, and he beats the white girl half to death. Now, mind you, this video is wiped from the internet, but someone found this shit and it is circulating again. Let's go ahead and watch it. Old boy had no smoke for this shit. Now, mind you, he's making a moral argument, right? Now, you saw on the screen, he mentions Drake and young girls, right?
It was Memorial Day or it was fight weekend, I don't remember. I got told to go up to her room to help some girl get down to the casino because she was scared. She ends up being all bloody and everything because like half of her face was like blown out pretty much. Oh, so I'm like, oh, lovely. And come to find out, she was with a certain rapper who had assaulted her.
Who are these niggas?
Kendrick. Kendrick Lamar? Yeah. Allegedly. Let's go with
FixMoney.com. Media takeouts reporting that Kendrick Lamar beat a woman up in Vegas last weekend and left her badly injured in a hotel room. That incident is under investigation.
Because I was like, I'm sure if that happened, there'd have been a police report. You would have been arrested.
That's foolishness. That's ignorant. That's only ignorant.
He lied. Y'all niggas worship him. Lie.
So I gave him that one. Old boy didn't have nothing to say to me. So this is him right here. So you see my man says, Drake has a history of texting young women, Lotto's sister, Millie Bobby Brown, and groping a young woman live on stage. But y'all still be like, my man, right? I'm sorry. I'm reading that way too fast. Let's read it nice and slow. Drake has a history of texting young women, Lotto's sister, Millie Bobby Brown, and groping young women live on stage. But y'all still be like, no, he said y'all still me like my man, my man, my man. So it's supposed to be a play on when girls say, right? Also says, please, Drake needed Kendrick to make Take Care sound less like a piece of dog shit. Kendrick Ben had West Coast legends pass him the torch back in 2011. Nigga said, so this is his response to the con. And again, this is a fact. Never in life have niggas who are dead prayers, Talib Kweli, High Tech, Most Def were never seen as, they were never lit ever. Slum Village, you were never lit ever. All right, when they were out at the same time at the likes of at times likes of Jay-Z and DMX and stuff like that, they weren't even in the same stratosphere. Girls didn't even know who the fuck they were. That's a fact. Because the point I was making to him was, yo, conscious rappers have always had their own lane, and no one looks to conscious rappers to make hits and make songs people actually like. For the most part, these niggas make products with a whole bunch of deep cuts that people don't know. And a lot of listeners, especially if you're someone who gets into that kind of music, you get to be in this little bubble where you think that, for one, everyone should think whatever you think is hot, they should think it's hot too, right? So this guy's going back and forth. Matter of fact, hold on, what else we got here? This nigga said the problem is Kendrick can do what Drake can do and not lose his consciousness, have hits and accolades to boot. Drake can't do what Kendrick do, right? And he also said A minor to me at some point. Where's the A minor, John? Where's it at? Oh, here we go. Boom. So he goes all these things, right? He says, "Where's the proof that he hit Whitney? Where's the proof? There is proof that Baca has the actual case, though. How you fuck your homie's girl, which breaks Legend Bro code while he was incarcerated. All those songs didn't chart well at all. How you lose to Kendrick and the fucking judge. Kendrick had the whole Toronto screaming one more time, A minor. Fam, Drake is the #1 stream artist right now. Kendrick has lost millions of monthly listeners and streams because Spotify did a purge on that shit. Also, when it comes to the case, right, and we can't forget this shit. When the judge dismisses the case, that means that the judge didn't allow for Drake's legal team to actually look over the evidence and present the evidence to a jury. For you niggas to think that a company that's worth $44 billion can't put in a good word towards a judge or pay the judge off, y'all in your goddamn minds. Not only that, this is where wars are actually fought in the court. Things change through court. Shout out to Angry Man. He brought up that point about the fact that in hip hop culture, with niggas in general, hip hop culture is black culture. Black culture in general is it's supposed to fit into the idea that black men should fail and always take losses, and you should need to always be there to be the person who can point and say, "Look at you, you lost, you took a L, stupid nigga." I don't know how you can just say that this lawsuit is not for other artists. You're basically saying that it's okay for the record label to fuck you over, as long as we're big enough. Because the thing is, these niggas, their whole perspective is based off the idea that I'm supporting what's real. But even what's real to you niggas, even what you niggas think is okay and all right, over the last 5 years, we have debunked almost everything that the average nigga thinks is good. And one of the last things that we need to go ahead and get rid of is the pro-black nigga, the fucking race hustler. All right? Kendrick was his biggest during what was perceived to be the whole pro-black era of black folks through social media, online, different influences, Umar Johnson, just all these different things, the whole generational wealth thing, the whole cosplaying African people thing. That was really big during Kendrick. I'm sorry. Kendrick was arguably his biggest between 2015 and 2018, right? Pretty much, and I'll say pretty much whenever the Black Panther phase ended, that's kind of like that's peak Kendrick. That soundtrack and the damn album, that was the zenith for Kendrick, okay? And that's kind of it. And even then, those records are not as big as you think they are, right? So I said to old boy, I said, listen, I went and check your page out. I say, you know what? I wanted to see who I was talking to. All right. So shout out to I think his name is Guy Ceratops. Okay. Already drying bitches up. You know what I'm saying? I said, hold on, man. Let me go ahead and find a nigga real quick. Okay, let me find him real quick. So I'm not playing the shit to say that he's not good, anything's wrong with him, right? But I wanted you guys to hear how he raps.
Yeah. Me and the mic have a relationship that nobody can understand.
I'm going to stop it right there. His body language, his facial expression, and also the nigga dark skin, so dark skin privilege. I've been telling y'all, it's a hierarchy in the hood. Is old black chicks with no man, black women, black girls, black boys, then it's niggas. And the hierarchy with niggas is dark skin niggas at the very top. So you can see why he think he can violate me, all right? Because he think he has dark skin privilege over me, right? So here we go. All right, let's get into a little more. You see this shit? Now again, nothing's wrong with my man, right? But you can see why this is someone who listens to the Kendrick and says, yo, that's hot. You know why you like Kendrick is because he represents the kind of artist who can do basically whatever. Kendrick could, listen, I heard Edgar Man make this analogy. You said Kendrick could take a poop into his hand and hand it to you, and you niggas would be sitting down talking about it's not for everyone, all right? You just don't get it. Like, you just don't understand that piece of shit, all right? So the thing is, you're not enlightened enough to understand, listen, that the world's in the palm of your hands. That's why he pooped in the palm of your hands, because the earth, from ashes to ashes and dust to dust and poop to poop. But anyway, you see old boy, right? You know what I mean? I'm not saying anything's wrong with him. Listen, he hip-hop, right? But I'm listening to the kind of rapping that you do, right? Matter of fact, let's do a little more. Let's do a little more. Let's check out some more.
Attention to a thing. My suggestion to you, they see that projection in the shade. Try to puzzle me smarter than washing head attacks away. Opinions of others is something I don't know history.
So even with the body language and whatnot, this is not listen, bro. These is not joints, man. And I said to him, bro, you seem to be a pretty talented guy. As long as you listen to niggas who make bad music or make music that dries the bitches up, they will be influencing you to think that you can do the same thing. Now, this is someone who's actually imitating Kendrick. I always make this point that no one who's tried to rap like Kendrick, in fact, I don't think anyone even does that. You can't even try to even replicate the shit. You can't even do an impression of it. The closest person I've heard that's had any success rapping like Kendrick is JID. And I don't want to hear JID because he sound like Kendrick. Now, I think he rap good, but yo, his verse on that Freddie Gibbs album stresses me out, bro. Like it's because it's raps about raps. It's raps about random shit. It's not fly. It's not good storytelling. It's no shit talking. It's just, ugh. You know what I mean? I don't get it. But again, I can tell the dude got talent and whatnot, but he doesn't realize this does not sound cool. There's no replay value to any of this shit. All right. There's like what you're, even the stuff you're saying, your enunciation, you're hitting the He said rubber bands. Listen, I understand. I'm someone that does not have the coolest rap voice, right? But I'm also not going to over enunciate. This nigga is over enunciating on the wrong sounds. Even how he's moving with the shit. He's not cool at all. You have no cool factor. So the picture I'm painting is there's a certain kind of artist and consumer who chooses to be this very loud voice that's pro Kendrick, right? And listen, we gotta speak on it. I had to bring this shit. Matter of fact, let's do one more. Let's do one more.
Show up about your possessions and their boys be quick. Here he go talking every story. You're gonna have the hardest time ever ignoring this. I'm thinking each child support for the way that it came. I think I may have imprinted it again. What you call remember with the babies that they with the hats and holding have a great mother's name. Instead of the brave. What's up?
Again, great video work. Okay, I'm sure this is a talented guy. No one's, again, you don't realize that's not music. That's not music, bro. Niggas that wear nice clothes are not gonna play that shit. Pretty girls can't dance to that shit, bro. It's not that you can't have joints where you showing your skills off, because this style is based off of I want to show off my skills. One of the worst things a rapper can do in the song is get caught up in showing the skills. Shout out to Drake. I remember years ago Drake was saying, this is when he was doing Take Care. He was saying, you know, me and 40 have been doing some really good rap songs, right? And he talked about wanting to have that album where he's just snapping and just rapping the whole time, and he's not doing what makes him Drake. One of the best things that Drake did was not listen to niggas and not listen to black people. Because had Drake listened to black people, he would never be as successful. Because imagine what trajectory Drake's career would have went in if he tried to give you a boom bap album. If he tried to give you an album with Alchemist. All right, and say, yo, I'm only gonna rap on Alchemist type beats. I'm gonna rap with Slaughterhouse and whatnot. He would have never made it no fucking way. His career would have been over. Would have been over. All right, and the lesson in that is you have to understand why you're doing certain things and the reason for it. Okay, and I've had a conversation with my homeboy about who you listening to and what you championing. We were talking about the Clips album and the Kendrick album. I'm like, fam, there is no setting for that music. Why? Because it's not really music. You understand? What am I? Oh, God damn, this is a long ass show. All right, bro. You know what? We're gonna stop right here for right now, man. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna stop right here.
Your body. If you love me, let me get your body.
Actually, no. Hold on. We got a little. Always look at who's saying what. Black men in particular. Don't just be out here taking critiques from everyone, right? You understand me? Because again, these niggas will have you hating yourself, man. So this is Drake with his baby mother with her big old booty. Big old white booty. You understand me? This is his son's birthday party, right? This boy, I think this boy is 8 years old now. People are still writing comments saying, thank Pusha T for making this happen. Now, I don't have to put up the tweets of people saying Drake's baby mother has never ever said that Drake wasn't present in the boy's life. Never ever said that he was a deadbeat dad. That beef with Pusha T really proved how much y'all hate light-skinned niggas. Y'all hate winners. All right? And not only that, it proves how much dark-skinned privilege is alive and well. Because Pusha T said this shit, y'all niggas roll with that as if it was the gospel. And it wasn't even a good diss. When Pusha T's what people talk about for the Pusha T diss is that he exposed Drake for hiding a child with no proof, no receipts, no nothing. And because y'all hate niggas who actually make good music, y'all roll with it. All right, that's one of the first. And again, there's been so many negative narratives that have been put on this man from the beginning of his career. That's always been put on this nigga from either nerds or dark-skinned dudes. Because again, dark-skinned dudes be having a special hate for light-skinned niggas, bro. Not only that, they live a life where people let them get away with being passive-aggressive, being a bad friend, being phony, being disrespectful, to the point where dark-skinned people deal with you as if you agreed to a shit-eating contract. But someone also had made a really good point. I think they really summed things up perfectly. They said, understand, his baby mama never said that he was absent or a deadbeat. A struggling rapper who was mad said it and y'all believed it. This is Drake with his child. Okay? This is Drake with his child, bro. All right? And not only that, it's from his child, it's from his baby mother's social media. This is an old ass video from back in the day of Drake with his kid, Drake with Adonis as a baby. Okay? And it's just disgusting because we have to really factor in all these sick people who have a platform, who can speak and say whatever they want to say before we form an opinion, because these people sway other people. Gotta realize it takes effort to form your own opinion about things. It takes effort to have your own thoughts about things, right? So when someone comes with a strong opinion, people are more likely to take on that strong opinion because they can't form their own. Or if you hear someone's strong opinion before you form your own, you will more than likely take on their opinion. You understand me? Let's do one more. It's something I thought was just really whack, yo. So this is a clip from Most Def, right? And listen, I'm gonna say I said it before, and I'm gonna say shit again. I was outside for Most Def, right? So
Drake is pop to me, in the sense like if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
For the most part, right? This is a play that niggas will always do, especially dark skinned women in media will always try to put another artist in a situation where they diss Drake, especially someone like Mos Def. Now, I never knew him to be a hater or nothing like that, but at the end of the day, Mos Def is an artist who falls within that super duper niche of hip hop where you don't really fit anywhere. You just a nigga that can rap pretty good. None of you know one Mos Def verse, a Mos Def record. The only record I know of Mos Def that's him by itself is I think Miss Fat Booty or Miss Big, one of those, right? And I'm sorry, and Umi said, "Shine light on the world, shine light for the world to see." Right? And I'm not saying he can't have an opinion, but if you know Drake's catalog, the records that Drake got with 21 Savage don't fit in Target. The records that Drake got with Future don't fit in Target. What the fuck are you talking about? What he's speaking on, what he's trying to do is basically take shots. Conscious rappers have always had a beef, or always had this thing where they have to invalidate rappers who make music that people actually like because they're jealous of them. It's not because they chose not to make those records, it's because you don't even have the voice that fits a catchy record. And again, I like Mos Def, but Mos Def is not knowing that niggas have never been checking for the Mos Def album. Ever. Again, somehow along the way, I think it came from the journalist. I don't know. And maybe it starts with Tribe Called Quest, but Tribe Called Quest still had joints that you could enjoy. That's what made them dope. But I never forget in the documentary, right? In the documentary, they had people. They basically, you know how you have a documentary and they're telling a story, and they'll have people who are from that era speaking on certain questions, right? And one person said, now they were speaking on how Tribe Called Quest dressed, which was very funky and kind of weird and just didn't really fit to the whole dope boy aesthetic, right? And they said the way we saw Tribe Called Quest was maybe that's some ish that we just not up on yet. Rather than saying them niggas dress weird or them niggas can't dress. So basically, they changed the rules based off of what role they think they play and what space they think they fit in. Basically, they're not looking at them necessarily as the leaders necessarily. Now, Tribe Called Quest is a little bit different because they weren't. Nobody was trying to tell you that Phife Dawg was the greatest rapper of all time, or trying to tell you. Or there wasn't this. People liked the music because it felt good and it was good joints. All right, it wasn't Q-Tip leaning off resting on his laurels. Right, it was actually well produced music that was actually joints. Can I kid? Yes, you can. That still goes. You know what I'm saying? Bonita Applebomb, you got it put me on. Bonita. I'm saying like that. Those were good structured songs, well produced songs. You know what I'm saying? I think electric relaxation. All these joints, those are joints, and those are joints that you heard before. You know what I'm saying? Just that whole vibe. But people will do this thing again where they bring up Drake and they'll ask a conscious rapper about Drake or someone that they know wouldn't like Drake, and what they do is they set them up to say something defamatory or fucked up or basically try to, for the most part, whenever you speak on someone that's of a higher status or someone that is up there, if you're going to take a shot, always acknowledge the talent first. Always acknowledge the talent first. Because basically what he tried to do was basically, and this is a concept that might be a little bit foreign to young guys. Is, for example, right? Nelly is an amazing rapper, but Nelly will never get that credit because Nelly never had "Let Me Show You My Raps." Nelly had amazing records with amazing raps on them. If you listen to what he's saying, Nelly is always snapping. All right, always a good rapper. Now he may not be lyrical miracle, but Nelly is a great rapper. But Ludacris. Now Ludacris fought for that, and also he fought for the label of no nigga. I be rapping too. I'm coming for the. He had a song called "I'm Coming for the #1 spot." You know, where he said with the Austin Powers drawing that Quincy Jones made, right? So anyway, Mos Def went viral for this clip a few years ago and whatnot, and he wound up apologizing and whatnot. At the time, I wasn't on the time and I'm on now. But I do realize in hindsight that, no, he was wrong for that. No, bro, you been a fucking hater. Because you know what you're doing. You trying to play someone the fuck out. All right? To say that about any rapper, this rapper's music fits within shopping or fits within Target. I'm like, nigga, I can pull up mad records that don't fit within Target. What the fuck are you talking about? That also tells me that you're not really listening and you don't listen to good music. Anywho. All right, man, listen. I'm out of here.
Because I always respected your hairline on television.
Subscribe to the channel.